Okay, today I'm reviewing Agatha Christie's short story collection, Poirot Investigates. According to my handy-dandy pocket essential to Agatha Christie, most of these short stories were published in a London magazine called The Sketch in about 1923. And then they were put together into this collection that was originally called The Grey Cells of Monsieur Poirot, because he always talks about his brain power, his little grey cells. And the last three stories in the book, in my version of the book anyway, did not originally appear in the British publication of Poirot Investigates. And they are quite different. They are, I believe all of them, well, the last two are narrated by Poirot. He's reminiscing about a couple of different cases that he's handled, and they're a little bit different in tone from the other ones. These are all narrated overall by Hastings, his colleague, and we get quite a variety. There are 14 stories, and let me just briefly go over what each one is. First, The Adventure of the Western Star is about a stolen diamond and an old legend about this diamond being returned to the idol that it originally came from. The Tragedy at Marsden Manor concerns a rook rifle and a superstitious wife. The Adventure of the Cheap Flat involves a young couple that find this very inexpensive apartment for rent. The Mystery of Hunter's Lodge is about an elusive housekeeper. The $1 Million Bond Robbery is about some bonds that are stolen on a transatlantic ride over to New York. And The Adventure of the Egyptian Tomb, which is my favorite, I think, of this collection, is about some Egyptologists and archaeologists on a dig at a new tomb, and how members of this dig keep dying mysteriously, and people believe that it's part of a curse. The Jewel Robbery of the Grand Metropolitan is, of course, the theft of some jewels, in this case some very expensive pearls. The Kidnapped Prime Minister is about a kidnapped Prime Minister. The Disappearance of Mr. Debenham is about a banker or an investor who has disappeared. The Adventure of the Italian Nobleman is involves a man hit on the back of a head with a statuette and 3 completed dinners. And the big clue here is that a rice souffle was not finished. The Case of the Missing Will. A young girl she's this young feminist, and her uncle decides to leave her everything, but he's a stodgy old man and he doesn't believe in women's rights, and so he says, well, you think you're so clever and you've got the brain power to match men, you're going to have to try and find this will. So he dies and leaves her a treasure hunt. The Veiled Lady is about a letter that a blackmailer has in a small Chinese box. The Lost Mine is about a murdered Chinese man who owns a mine in China and who has been murdered near an opium den near the wharf. And The Chocolate Box is a historical piece that goes back to Belgium when Poirot was a member of the police force, and it involves I believe a green chocolate box with a pink cover, or it might be a pink chocolate box with a green cover. A mismatched cover anyway, and poison. So that's what these stories are basically about. I think one of the main themes of this piece has to do with pride. Poirot is constantly asserting his pride, and Hastings is constantly trying to, I guess, just try and knock him down off of his pedestal, and he can't. He can't do it. He thinks he's going to, and then he isn't able to. Even in the last story, in which Poirot discusses one of his big failures, it's not really a failure in a conventional sense. He still figures out the mystery. Let's see the other things. There was a little hint of some some racial elements, yet it was from Christie's idea of an American perspective. In the first story, The Adventure of the Western Star, it's supposed to be a Chinese person who is stealing this diamond, or who is threatening to steal this diamond, and the Americans always refer to the Chinese as chinks. That was about the only racial sort of slur that I found in this collection. The thing that I noticed the most, and I would have to go in and look at more Sherlock Holmes, is that these short stories mirror a lot of Conan Doyle's short stories. Like the appearance of Mr. Devenheim reminds me of The Man with the Twisted Lip, and the Veiled Lady kind of reminds me a little bit of the Master Blackmailer. And these are all taking, I think this in a way was an exercise for her. She's looking at the conventional Sherlock Holmes stories and taking them and twisting them a little bit, and either giving them a comic edge or a completely different outcome, but using them as models, which I always think is a very interesting approach when you're going to write something. And it was probably, I really see these as a really strong development in her craft. As far as a rating goes, I'm not as big of a fan of all of Christie's short stories, because I always want them to go longer. And but I would still give this, I would say 3.75 out of 5 stars. It's a solid collection. It's just her short stories are not always my preference. So there you have it. I just woke up. That's why I'm still in my pajamas. And okay, next on the docket is The Secret of Chimneys. It is a thriller, kind of in the style that The Man in the Brown Suit was. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I haven't read this one in years, and I've been waiting because one of the main publishers, I don't remember which one, is putting out facsimile editions of Christie's works, and I've ordered a copy of this one and I think The Murder of Roger Ackroyd in hardcover. So once I get those, I'll show those to you because they look really cool. See you next time.